Welcome back, or if you're just joining me for the first time, welcome to my channel. I'm Trisha with Chocolate Musings. I love to bullet journal, which includes planning and journaling in one. I love to paint, draw, and create lettered art. This channel is dedicated to help you find your inner muse and grow creatively in your life's journey. Today I will be writing the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, which will serve as the path the car is driving over. Then I will be painting the car using Crayola Super Tip markers, which is my new favorite way of watercolor painting. The shading and the lines on this drawing are some of my very favorites so far. But I have to tell you, my absolute favorite thing is the little sign in the bottom left-hand corner. I've been working on developing a standard writing font, and I love how it's turning out. In the end, I hope you find some inspiration. Links are in the description below for all products used, as well as links to the blog post for this video. Sit back and enjoy. Today I will be working on this old-timey car. I wrote out the poem by Robert Frost. I used a 0.2 millimeter micron Pigma. It's not the right one, but here it is. It's number 005. Very, very fine tip on it. This one was written in a 0.45. which is a 0.5, and I kind of merged the two together. So I thought this was a really fun idea, but you have to be very careful with the tips on these because I don't even know if I can show you how fine it is. See how fine that tip is? If you push at all hard, it'll destroy the nib. I'll show you the difference between the two. There's a 0.45 right here, there's a 0.2. So you can see a big difference between the two. I love it because if you let it sit for just a second, then you can erase over top of it and it doesn't mess it up. So what I figured with this car is that it would be kind of a maroon and black, and I'll do the top in black and then have just kind of a dark brown maroon color. I've chosen my palette, and my palette is actually on a plate because that's the way I like it. I'm using Crayola Super Tips. I just scribble them onto a very smooth surface plate. It's actually a Corel plate. And then I choose my palette. I prefer this method to actual watercolor paint because I get a weird texture with watercolor paint. And this, with the markers, I can write over top of it easier. Sometimes when you do a page, let me show you back here in December, the paint will kind of chip off, and as you're turning pages, this is my latest experiment and I'm really liking the way it's turned out. But I'm just gonna start with getting some color on the brush, mixing it with a little bit darker and seeing what colors we come up with. That's a little bit too brown. That's about right. Just kind of maroon, dark maroon color. And this is actually not any car in particular. It's kind of a combination of cars from my own imagination. Make this a little bit darker here. So, and this is a covered wheel. Again, just kind of indicative of the early styles of cars. I figured this one might be on a moonshine run. And that's the path that it's on. It was my imagination. I like to tell stories with my bullet journaling, and or with anything that I really do. I like the stories that come along with it, so I make up stories for whatever thing I'm painting at the moment. About the owner, or about maybe the owner of the car, or, you know, what the car was doing at the time. Bring it back in age. I suppose, you know, I'm not really comparing myself to Bob Ross, but, you know, Bob Ross always painted happy little trees. So I guess in his mind, he was creating a story about these little bushes and little trees that he was doing. So maybe that's a little bit where I'm channeling Bob Ross here. Maybe that's what I'm doing. It does create a very subtle color effect. And you can add, I'm just starting with the first layer. If you want to keep it like this, you certainly can. If you do this technique, it will be very light. It does have the watercolor look when it dries. I think that this is a car that could probably be convertible. I'm just painting with a very small brush. I found that if I use bigger brushes, the effect, I don't know, it just does something kind of strange with since I am painting with markers, it just doesn't work as well. And so I just find that I need to use a smaller brush, even though I'm covering a larger area. Do the signs down here. The road signs are directing me where I need to go, and evidently in this one, what meals I need to fix, which is always a struggle in my life. I thought that those ones would be kind of a brighter green road sign color. Well, that should do it for today. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a thumbs up on the video. And don't forget to visit me on my social media channels. You'll often get sneak peeks on Instagram and Twitter, and I have a whole lineup of inspiration on my blog, chocolatemusings.com, and my Pinterest account. I hope you remember to plan your life so that you live beautifully. And don't be afraid to discover your inner muse. Hope to see you next time.